Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do yet again another video, and today I've got another game highlight for you on Tournament Dust Bowl, no poker edition. I'm going to be playing as the Kane. My opponent down in the south will be playing as the Steel Talons. Now you may look at this title and be thinking, Leaf, you're getting a taste of your own medicine, and that is true. This is one of the times I have had my own strategy used against me, which is wonderful to see, but also terrifying at the same time because I know that all my strategies are amazing and OP and amazing in every possible way. Just kidding. Most of the time they're pretty gimmicky, but there is the occasional one that is viable and can work very well. In this particular game, it is the latter. It's a very good strategy. Steel Talons though. Don't know what he is. Most of the time we play random versus random. I'm playing versus Dutch Army here. Red Alert 3 player. Came from Red Alert 3, very good in that game. His skills transferred quite well in Kane's Wrath. One thing he has been getting better at recently is knowledge. He plays a lot of Kane's Wrath and knows the build orders quite well. Now I can beat a Rifleman's squad. There's two scenarios. The Rifleman's squad goes over the Tiberian field and the Awakened squad finishes it off, because Cyborgs don't take tip exposure damage. And the second thing is I can put my Awakened near the Warp Factory, and when it takes damage, the Warp Factory will slowly heal that Awakened back up. So nothing out of the ordinary just yet. One of my favorite strategies to do as Kane is to go for a lot of Saboteurs with Cybernetic Legs at the start of the game and summon in the two Shadow teams. It's a really good opening move on maps with 4 spikes. This one only has the 2 spikes, but I can go for that spike later on when I get that Cybernetic Leg upgrade. Super fast engineers. They have the fastest engineers of all the factions to Kane. Even faster than the Scrin Buzzer. These Awakened are very annoying. Lots of health. And they're just going to delay the harvesting. He tells me in the comments here that it didn't affect his harvesting, and it was able to harvest whilst the harvester was EMP'd, and I disagree with that. It didn't actually happen that way. I watched the replay back. This game I'm going to go for my trusty Buggy Enlightened combo. It's a very good combination. Versus Steel Talons, maybe not so much due to the adaptive armor later on, so EMP is going to be less useful, but still it's always going to affect the Wolverines, and the Wolverines are pretty much the only anti-infantry unit the Steel Talons can build, besides Hammerheads. That's why I pack along a bunch of Buggies. Buggies really are your best anti-air unit as any nod until you get to tier 3. I guess in the case of Black Hand you get the Mantis, which is a very good unit. So I'm going to be super greedy here and go for a 4th refinery, because it's very costly going for Enlightened Buggy. It's a costly combination, $1,200 per squad. But the radius of that EMP makes it well worth the investment. Foxhole gets dug out. I'm going for rockets here, seeing these MRTs, and so far so good. Rockets will be able to defend against that no problem. I built a Hand of Nod before my 4th refinery. This is in case I get hit by something like Pitbulls. He's going for MRTs, and he's using what I have discovered to be super effective versus the Nod factions, and that is the V35 MRT rocket strategy. But I know how to counter it as the Kane. I'm going for rockets, and I'm upgrading Tiberium infusions, an upgrade seldom researched as mock, because it only affects the Fanatics and Militant Rocket squads. Plus he's going to fly into stealth, and those MRTs don't stealth detect. So I'm going to be able to focus fire those down very quickly and effectively. He's not going to be able to do any damage. He flies into the rocket. Unfortunately does get away with all of them alive. So this is going to disrupt me here. My original plan was to go for Buggies, but I know Buggies can be sniped and picked off by this. So upon seeing the V35s, I need to transition and adapt to what he's doing. Very hard strategy to stop. I need a Tib Trooper to clear out those buildings in the middle of the map. Later on, I can garrison them up with my rockets. Researching that cybernetic upgrade right now. That's going to be very useful for these TIB troopers, as well as the infantry I may decide to spam later on. But I've got the bike buggy and I'm looking to do some counter-attack damage. Anywhere I can find it, and those rockets are just going to be so hard to kill. My bikes will miss the V35s, so I'm going to have to play around this in a certain way. I'm going to pull back these rockets to my base. Those Wolverines very effective against infantry with that AP ammo upgrade. My bike buggy can hold this back. Forces the radar scan to be used. Doesn't want to commit into that. Engineer makes it through that Tiberium field alive. Going for a chemical plant here. I'm going to try and one-click him. That's the most I can really hope for. Stealth tanks wouldn't be a bad choice either. I can effectively kill those V35s with stealth tanks if I build them. But I'm working on that TIB core upgrade. What I really need here is also obelisks, considering a mine drop as well. Those mines, even though they don't do a lot of damage as mock, they're very frustrating once your units have those mines equipped, because they do damage over time, and you need to return to base to a war factory to remove them, otherwise it will infinitely damage your unit until it is destroyed and blown up. Mines are more effective versus epic units, because epic units have the same health as a tier 3 unit, but their armor is way more. And mines do a certain type of damage called mine damage, and epic units and all units do not have any armor against it. So it's like killing a mammoth tank in the case of a Marv if it goes into a minefield, because it practically bypasses what makes an epic unit so epic in health. Technically, it's just its armor. Avatars moving forward. I built those to push back these Wolverines. And I need to work on that TIB core upgrade. Once I have that online, I'm going to be able to easily dispatch these V35s. But they're still being a constant menace. And he's been allowed this whole duration to do what he wants. He's going to do an expansion. He's probably going to be working on Mammoth tanks as well as Steel Talons. There's only a limited amount of things you can do as Steel Talons, but I can take a pretty educated guess here and assume he's going for mass Mammoth tanks. So what do I do against that? Very good question. And I was like, holy crap, look at the size of that army. Those V35s have bought him so much time. That is a significant force of units. Vertigos come in. They land some shots and they kill some harvesters. That's going to deny his expansion a little bit. I myself do not have an expansion down. I'm always late compared to my opponent at getting down an expansion. And I know this refinery placement looks odd, but I was considering that he's going to have an attack here. So it's pointless to me putting the refinery down where this MCV is, because he's just going to destroy it. He's going to aim to destroy that ref if I place it down. So it was a safer bet of mine to put the ref back there, even though it's not super efficient. Vertigo's getting reloaded. Those reload in 10 seconds in this community patch. Magnetic mine drop comes down as well. He'll need stealth detection to remove those. V35's being microed around. Him being a Red Alert 3 player, he's very good at micromanagement. And here comes a wave of units. Those TIB core SAMs are going to push back the air. Harvesters took some TIB. I'm happy with what I gathered. Now, I don't want to waste the shots from these Vertigos. I should consider building a combat support airfield, or not air support tower, so I can reload these Vertigos closer to the front line. Looking for more harvesters to destroy. These Vertigos are hunting harvesters. One more goes down. I'm scanning the area. That's a lot of Mav tanks, a lot of Wolverines. If he pushes in, he can probably take me out, but he doesn't know my exact force due to the stealth of the Nod faction. That stealth is making him believe I have more than what I really do. So definitely the deception tactics of Nod are coming into play in this game. Sea Tiberium is ready to be used once again. I should summon that in. That's practically free Tiberium, but I sell the chemical plant off because at this point it was about defending his army off, not getting more Tiberium. I need to defend this off, and I have my doubts. I just don't have the defense established to push back this huge army. And he clearly does not want me to set up a base and build an army. So he's going to push in now. I try and shield the Obelisk of Light with a power plant, though that's pretty futile against these railgun accelerated Mammoth tanks. Some EMP gets thrown down on these Mammoths. He was too slow to enable the adaptive armor. He does have that researched. And my defense is crumbling. Avatar's just simply no match against this many Mammoth tanks. My Vertigos, I'm going to have to relocate. I'm getting some shots down on them. And this whole base here is going to be sacked. There's not much I can do. I'm not going to sell it off because I need to buy myself some time. I think most players at this point would probably call the GG because there's so much in this position. How am I possibly going to hold this back? Power getting taken out. I'm going to be slowed down in my production time. I'm also not going to be able to use my support powers. Magnetic Mine Drop is ready to be used once again. That might be good. Vertigo's coming in for another round of attacks. Tell you what, those Vertigos have a lot of work to do. I take out Mammoth after Mammoth with those Vertigos, and I'm going back for more Vertigos because he just does not have a proper answer to them just yet. Another Obelisk comes down. And with the aid of the Stealth Tower, I can maybe grab an Avatar. It may do something, but at the very most, it's just going to stall his advance. This tier 3 of mine is miraculously still alive. Vertigo's flying overhead. I know it's there. I'm just waiting for the best time to use it, getting that splash damage on the Mammoth tanks. Both the Mammoth tanks fall. Wolverines get EMP'd. AA Sam's taking down those V-35s, which are still going. Still, the tier 3 are finally there. So I held that attack off. I thought that was a miracle, considering I did not have any EMP, and the Avatars got slaughtered in that first wave. But the Vertigo bombers are going to keep me in this game, only just. Vertigo's going back on the attack, looking for targets here. I see some harvesters that I can splash down. I'm aiming between the harvesters to kill both of them at the same time. Uses the radar scan, tries to deal damage to those Vertigos, but is unsuccessful. Vertigo's continuing to be a nuisance. Bikes come out now. I'm building them to counter these V-35s. I failed the last time, but I'm thinking he'll mismicro them and probably lose them to the bikes. One thing I can do against those is stealth my bikes and ambush the V-35s. I'm bringing in lots of Tiberium now. And I'm going for Mass Enlightened. Now, despite me not seeing any units, it's most likely he has rebuilt an army. I'm going to use another Magnetic Mine Drop. Just use it in advance because I presume he may have a Marv or an army coming towards me. And that's exactly what he does have. More Mammoth tanks coming towards me. He's going to have an army that I'm going to be struggling to defend once again. Ion Cannon control is 3 minutes from firing off. And I've got these Vertigos ahead. Marv running through that Tiberium field. 4 Mav tanks heading through the middle of the map as well. Those are going straight into the Enlightens. I EMP them. Voice of Kane there to boost the damage and increase the fire rate by 50%. And look at that, the Marv, as mentioned prior, taking huge damage from that magnetic minefield. Engineer comes out. I want to try and take that Behemoth. I can put Enlightened in the Behemoth and have the ever so rare Behemoth Enlightened. And you know, despite him having these V-35 box transports, it has not done the game-ending damage he would have liked. He is doing a lot of... It's costing him a lot in terms of micro. with those V35s, but he just has not done the damage necessary to make it worthwhile for him. And I can kill 2 more mammoth tanks by aiming between both of them. 2 mammoths in one vertigo bombing run. That's an insane amount of value. And I've still got 2 remaining. One has a veterancy rank on it. I could go for the power plant next to the MCV. Knock him offline. But he's really hurting now as far as Tiberium harvesting is concerned. I will target down that harvester and destroy it. 1 minute 40 seconds left on the ion cannon cooldown. I'm building another refinery. This is where things start to matter, like pulling your harvesters off the line, not letting them take the Tiberium is going to help you immensely, because you don't want your fields to be not regrowing at this point in time. Slingshots come out here. He's built AA, probably invested in sling tungsten shells as well. He doesn't want to go into pitballs. I personally would have at this point invested into mass pitball, but against the enlightened spam that I have at this point, even that is going to struggle. Really what he needs are the Firehawks to counter the Vertigos and sensor pods. Sensor pods on those structures in the middle of the map combined with the Firehawks would be the ultimate counter to Vertigo bombers. I'm looking at relocating my Vertigo bombers because I don't want him to blow up all my infrastructure if he does decide to hit my Vertigos. I don't want it to also destroy my refineries, war factories, power plants and what have you. So here are the Enlightened, which I said I'd do it at the start of this game, but finally I head in with them. I'm going to take out these defenses and try and probe his base, try and take out those structures there. That's a lot of defenses, Wolverines and MRTs flying above, which can repair infantry, can repair vehicles below. EMPs coming down on those Wolverines. There's a behemoth back there taking out the Wolverines in the back. Ion cannon is ready to fire off. Bikes just to support this one behemoth. He doesn't have any artillery of his own to combat mine. And look at that DPS from the behemoth. Pretty decent. Imagine if those were unlocked for steel talons. So I'm considering my options here. Do I bomb the mammoth tank or do I hit the harvesters? The harvesters are probably less of a priority now because all the Tiberium has been harvested. So killing harvesters is going to be less of an impact. I should try and kill his standing army with those 4 Vertigos. I'm scouting the map, see if I can find any better target. There's a mammoth tank there. I thought, okay, that's probably the best I can hope for with these Vertigos. Let's just take this one out. More ranks happening on the Vertigos. And remember, he still has that ion cannon that he can fire off. So I need to be extra vigilant and wait. I don't want to commit a huge attack force to attacking him whilst he has that ion cannon ready to fire. More bikes sweeping in. And I don't think he has yet lost a single V35 transport. He's been really good microing those around, but even though they're good, they still just have not done the damage. And I think stealth tanks would have been a better option for me against the V35s, because I would have been able to kill them. He would not have had the time to get out of range like he's been doing with those spikes. Plus, the rockets from the stealth tanks don't have a maximum range either. Behemoth gets some repairs near that war factory. You can also repair the Enlightened near the war factory. Heroic rocket inside of that V35. I decide to build my own nuke at this point. And it's just one of those games, right, where neither one of us knows exactly what to do. Finally do manage to get one of the V35s, and yeah, these Vertigos are gonna slowly dismantle the steel talon player. Kane at this point in time just have the tools to do more compared to GDI. I see a mammoth tank and a slingshot. I can probably do what I've been doing until now. Aim the ground, dot the unit, splash both of them simultaneously. Chemical plant comes down, and that will give me access to several support powers, useful ones that I can use to my advantage. Tiberium is definitely one of them. So I'm going to use that right now. And I was thinking, okay, I need an effective counter against those V35s. Do I go for a Rocket Redeemer, or do I go for just a Tip Trooper? But the Ion Cannon does fire off, gets all but 2 of my Vertigos. Not the best Ion Cannon in the world, but he still does kill all but 2 of them. Obviously, those Vertigos were the units that were threatening him the most, so it wasn't the worst outcome in the world. And I'm going to head out with this Redeemer. Rocket Redeemer. It's going to fire 3 rockets per rocket launcher. I did change that, because visually it shows 3, but it deals the same damage to aircraft as the 2 that it fired prior. But against ground targets and anything else, it's 50% better than 1.02 due to that additional rocket. So the Redeemer is firing off. I don't have to worry so much about EMP, because I have an ability on my Temple of Nod which allows my units to be restored when EMP'd. It restores EMP affected structures and units. And this Redeemer will make a slow march forward. You can see it's firing more rockets, 3 per rocket squad you put inside of the Redeemer. So I did modify the hardpoints. Most hardpoints in this game now are useful for all the epic units. In recent times, the Marv also got a buff with the rifle turret as well as grenade launcher. Has a bit more range compared to before. And here I'm going to demonstrate just what I said. So that Redeemer gets EMP'd by the shockwave. He's got his behemoths in range, but doesn't actually do anything due to the counter computer measures. 2 more of those behemoths go down. I thought, okay, I need to kill those husks somehow. Let's use the Vapor Bomb. It may even get some Wolverines. And now those V35s are taking so much damage. Refinery goes down. Husks also follow suit. Another behemoth falls. So yeah, his behemoths, they just aren't doing it for him. I'm going for avatars now. Something to give me armor on the front line besides this Redeemer. What I can also do is push with an MCV, which is what most players do when they're trying to win games. It's more effective to support your army with MCVs and build walkers, because you can just put a barracks down once you lose those walkers and capture them back. In the case for Kane, you build saboteurs with fast legs. When your avatar's full, you quickly reclaim them right on the front line, supported by defensive structures. So there's just 3 minutes left on the clock before I get to fire off that nuke. Redeemer will go back to the War Factory for some repairs. I'm just building up my force before I push out once again. Vertigos are going to go in for another bombing run. And I thought this would be a different type of game to showcase on my channel. Rarely do I show games where it goes into the super late game, where the entire faction's arsenal is on display. In the case of Kane, it is second to Traveler 59, if you ask me. Late game, it is very, very powerful. I've even massed a bunch of Enlightened now. Lots of Tiberium to gather. I thought, let's just gather his. It's worth the risk.
Select target.
And he does not want to give in this game. He's taken endless amounts of damage. He's set up foxholes. Harvesters will go down. I thought, okay, let's just take this out. Another harvester back there. Ion cannon is ticking down, but so is my nuke. He's got an airfield, but he never built anything besides the Firehawk V35s in the beginning of this game, and he's still got one of those left. I'm actually flying my Vertigo bomber overhead in case he builds a Firehawk, because then I can bomb it right away. Redeemer now pushing forward. I'm moving in with everything. That's a veteran bomber, so it's going to do more damage. Those harvesters taking a massive amounts of splash damage there, putting them down to that low health. They're going to move slower, they're going to harvest slower. He's rebuilt some behemoths. I take another shot off on this V35. It does manage to survive, only just, however. And I'm going to go ahead and take out his base. All this while, he has had his original base intact. I've had to rebuild mine. And I thought, okay, let's go ahead and bomb between both of these behemoths. Because you never know. The damage may help when I ultimately engage them with my enlightened. He can put riflements inside of his behemoths and increase their survivability against aircraft, like infantry, but I don't think it really matters at this point. I'm pushing through with these enlightened. Steel Talons don't have commandos, they don't have sniper teams. And really the only thing that can threaten these enlightens at this point are hammerheads, of which he has none on the map. Some pitbulls coming into my base, but that's not too threatening. And I'm pushing in now. A final push in with this Redeemer. I got that Temple of Nod once again, so if he uses the shockwave, I'm going to be free to escape from it again like I did the previous occasion. And Wolverines, they just aren't the answer. Enlightened, so effective against those Wolverines when microed properly. You can EMP them and destroy them very promptly. And I thought that was a really cool game there because it looked like I was overwhelmed. He had no real response to those vertigos. I think, as mentioned in that video, he should have gone for Firehawks and placed center pods around the map with a Orca. But other than that, I think I did well getting back into that game. I thought that was a good comeback from me. And I hope you enjoyed that game, guys. I got hit by my own strategy. The V35s, they worked out okay. But ultimately, it did not do the damage. And therefore, I was able to do what I want. And it was, in the end, a minor nuisance. You have to adapt to your opponent's strategies and not just play into them. He was hoping I'd build by buggy, but I'm aware of the weaknesses with unupgraded by buggy against V35 transports. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. And before I go, I would like to thank my Patreon members for supporting me and my YouTube channel and the patches I have done for this game. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.